Welcome back to the channel. My name is James Lewis, and today I have my very first reading wrap-up, and this is my wrap-up for June. And in June, I read 16 books, which I'm actually kind of surprised about. Normally, I don't read that much, but a lot of them were audiobooks, so that's kind of how I was able to get through a bunch of them. Normally I read mostly horror and dark romance. I've been reading a lot of romance books here recently, but in June I read mostly horror, a little bit of sci-fi, and only a few romance books. So let's get into those now. And I want to start off with Death Meets Cute, which was an audiobook. It's written by Jay Penner, narrated by Samara McLaren. This was given to me by Sourcebooks Audio along with Libro FM. So thank you, Sourcebooks, for the audiobook. I really do appreciate it. I got this free in exchange for my honest review. So this was a cute, cozy romance about Iris, who is a witch, and she's trying really hard to be a villain, but failing miserably because she's just such a nice person. Well, her bodyguard quits suddenly. She needs a new one, and what would you know? She goes outside and there's a dead orc in her front yard, and she's like, "Hey, there's my new bodyguard." So she casts a reviving spell on him and tells him that you're my bodyguard, and he remembers his name, and that's really about it. And so during the course of the book, the orc catches some feelings for her, and they sort of bond in different ways. And it's just a really interesting, sweet story, and I really loved it. I love Samara's narration. She did a really good job. I think bringing those different personalities to life, I think she did a really good job with that as well. I gave this one 5 stars. Again, in the audiobook is only like 8 hours long, so it's not too bad. And I typically listen at like 1.8 speed, just because of my ADHD. When I listen to a book at 1 or at normal speed, like my brain just kind of goes all over the place. So I have to have that speed to keep my brain on track. So don't judge me. Don't. So, yeah, Death Meets Cute by Jay Penner, 5-star read. And then we have Gimme a Pizza That Ass. And this was also given to me for free by Nerdy Read, and is written by T.R. Odin and Nerdy Read. And this was narrated by Danny Starro and Ivan Morea. And these two, I have listened to several books narrated by them, and they just do such a great job, and they work really well together. So anything that they narrate, you know it's going to be a hit. But this is about a woman named Sage who's enjoying her beach day out on the surf, and she gets kind of hungry, so she calls this new pizza spot in town, and she orders the large with everything, and they mean everything. Little does she know that it comes with some magic mushrooms. And so after eating some of her pizza, she takes a little nap. And after a quick nap, she realizes that her pizza, not only the pizza's alive, but the toppings are alive. And so she gets the sausage, if you know what I mean. So this is a smut book about a sentient pizza, and it was just a lot of fun to listen to. It's really short. I think it's like 4 hours, or maybe it was like 2 hours, either 2 or 4 hours. I can't remember. I'll put it up on the screen, but it's a lot of fun to listen to. It's available on Audible. Definitely check it out. It's just like one of those things where, like, you need something that's just goofy, silly, and can kind of, put you in a good mood. And so I think Gimme a Pizza That Ass was perfect, especially for the day that I listened to it. It was just like, I was feeling kind of down. I was like, I need something to listen to. And so that hit the spot. Pun intended, I guess. And then we have Rumors and Whiskey by Victoria Wilder. I pre-ordered this. I got my physical book from Morally Gray Bookstore in Noonan, Georgia. And this is, if you know Victoria Wilder, she wrote the Bourbon Boys series, and that was a great series. She writes romantic suspense. And Whiskey Women. Rumors and Whiskey is the first book in her Whiskey Women trilogy, and it takes place in the same universe. It was pretty suspenseful. I don't think it was as suspenseful as the first three books. The first chapter, though, opens up with like, what the hell am I reading? It is intense, but it's a story that follows Wynne and Julian. Wynne, her family owns a bar, but Wynne likes to make whiskey. And Julian is a high-end art dealer or artist. I think he's an artist. Yeah, he's an artist. But he also does cleanup, if you will. And while she is in the witness protection program, he meets her in Colorado just by chance. And they have a little fling. And he can't get her out of his mind, and he wants to find her. And just so happens, 6 months later, they run into each other again, and things kind of get heated. And I think what's cool about this was that near the end of the book, it ties back into some stuff that happens in the Bourbon Boys series. And then our characters from that series also make appearances in this. So, but I don't think you need to read those first. You can read this as a brand new series if you want to, but I do recommend Bourbon Boys as well. But this was another 5-star read. I really enjoyed it, and I like Victoria Wilder's writing. And then we have Harvest Season by Brynne Weaver. This is the follow-up to Tourist Season. I have this one on my shelf back over yonder, like right there. We continue the story of Harper. I don't want to say a whole lot about this because it is, if I say anything about the plot for this one, it kind of ruins Tourist Season. So if you haven't read that, I don't want to spoil that for you either. I will say that the story, it's exciting. The ending kind of pissed me off a little bit, but it leaves on like a really heavy cliffhanger. If you read the first one, the cliffhanger on this is like ramped up to 10. And I need the third book now. I need it now, but this is a great read. If you know Brynne Weaver, she wrote Butcher and Blackbird. She wrote Leather and Lark and Scythe and Sparrow. And so this also takes place in the same universe. But yeah, it's a great read. I'm really excited for the third book. She said it is coming, and we will get our lovely happy ever after ending. I just got to know how we get there. So Tourist Season or Harvest Season, 5 stars. And then we have a brand new series that I would have never picked up, but High Gravity Audio gave me the full series on audiobook. And this is called Spacebound and Down, the No Stress Space Express. And I listened to book 1 in May. Last month, I listened to the second book. And this is written by Jack Bodett. It's narrated by Neill Thorne and Rebecca Winder. Rebecca Winder, I know as another name that she uses to narrate other types of books. This is just a super cozy slice of life series where 2 truckers get, like, they're in the first book, their semi-truck, they're transporting some cargo, breaks down the side of the road in Alabama, and they see this spaceship come down, and it sucks up the truck, and now they're stuck on this massive ship, and it's about them becoming space truckers. And the whole series, it's a continuous thing. So I'm about to start the third book, and it's just a great feel good kind of story. And with the amount of smut and darkness that I read, this is that kind of palate cleanser that I need to kind of just like revive my soul. You know what I mean? Great little series. Thank you, High Gravity Audio, for providing me those books for free. And then when I listened to Spread Me by Sara, Gaily, narrated by Z Sands, this book was fucked up. This is the best sort of take on The Thing, but put it in the desert, and it's not an alien, but rather a fungus that lives just below the surface of the desert, and it invades a host, takes them over, becomes that host, but in such a worse way. The story itself is terrifying. I love all the different characters. I think I read this primarily because it is a queer-coded book, and June is Pride Month. So I thought, why not read this one? Because it's horror, fits in the Pride. Let's do it. And it was well worth the read. I listened to the audiobook again, like I said. Z Sands does an amazing job. They bring all of these characters to life. And every time a new character speaks, you can hear that character's voice. So they did a great job with the narration. Another 5-star read. I think you know what? All these books are 5-star reads because I read with vibes. If I don't like a book, I'll DNF it, and then I'll let you know if I DNF a book. But I didn't DNF any last month. We have The Dwelling by Judith Sonnet. This is a new book that she released. I read this on Kindle. This was a really cool take on the 5 friends category, where this starts after the friends have left the party. They're going home. They're driving down this road, and all of a sudden they realize they're lost. They've been driving down this road forever. Their little hippie van breaks down the side of the road. They don't really know what to do, but they find a little wooden cabin in the middle of the woods where you probably shouldn't go. And monsters literally come out of the woodwork. And the twist in this, I maybe saw coming a little, but it was still a surprising ending. And I think it was a really cool ending. And I just loved the story of this. I loved all the characters. None of the characters, sometimes you read a book and you're like, God, this character is just annoying the piss out of me. I didn't really get that. There were characters who were supposed to be like bad or douchey, but you know to expect that. But like, I did not enjoy reading those characters and how they acted. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe it makes sense. But a great story. It's pretty short. It's a novella. The audiobook is available. It's on Audible. I haven't listened to the audio yet. I might pick that up as well. But really cool story. I like Judith Sonnet's work. If you know, she also did No One Rides for Free, which is one of my favorite extreme horror books. That book is fucked up. So if you haven't read that, definitely check that one out. This one is not as extreme. It's gory, but not as gory as something like No One Rides for Free or The Bukkake House. I think she wrote that too. If you Google that one, if you don't know. And then I read A Box Full of Darkness by Simone St. James. Now she also wrote The Sundown Motel. So in this story, we go back to Fell, New York, and 3 siblings have to come together to find the brother that they lost at 6 years old. Their little 6-year-old brother just disappeared one day, and nobody knew what happened. This one, I think, is a lot scarier than Sundown Motel. We're dealing with vengeful spirits in this one, or a vengeful spirit. A lot of family trauma, childhood trauma, and when you combine all that, it just, man, this book is heavy, but it's really good. It's a really good story. I highly recommend this one. This is Box Full of Darkness by Simone St. James. The audiobook is also available, so check that out as well. And then I have Seed by Nia Ahlborn. Okay. So for her books, they're kind of hit and miss for me. I enjoyed The Unseen, which was alien horror, sci-fi horror. I read Brother because I saw all these people on TikTok talk about how extreme it was, and it was like the most disturbing book they read. And so I was reading it, and I was like, this is actually kind of boring. The plot to me was very predictable. I just wasn't into it. You know what I mean? It just didn't do it for me. It was kind of dull. It wasn't that extreme at all. So I DNF'd that one. I didn't finish it. It's on my shelf back there somewhere. I didn't finish that. But this one here, I think, was really good. This deals more of demonic possession. And it's kind of like an inherited possession, an inherited demon. And I thought it was kind of cool. It was a little slow to get started. But once we got going, it just kind of kept right on. And the ending, I enjoyed the ending. It was a good book. I really enjoyed this one. And I mean, I'll probably read more stuff by her. But like I said, I know that I'm going to either like her work or not like her work. So, but yeah, that was Seed by Ania Ahlborn. And then we have Broth House by Robert Essig. I read this on Kindle. The story revolves around a chef who has a soup kitchen for the homeless, but his soups are made from people. That's not a spoiler. That's right up front. That's what we get. But the story follows a journalist who knows something fucky is going up at the Broth House, and they're looking into it. Then we have Brad and Jeff, who are a married couple. Brad wants to, help out this kitchen, and Brad gets them involved, and bad things happen, and Jeff has to deal with certain things that go on. I don't want to spoil anything. This book is crazy pants. It's gory. It's graphic. It's a lot of fun. If you know Robert Essig's work, you know what to expect from Broth House. Definitely check this one out. You will not regret it. It's a lot of fun, and it's really short. So next we have The Hacienda by Isabel Canas. This is a haunted house story that takes place in Mexico in the 1800s. Very much a gothic horror. I love haunted houses. This one was no exception. It was spooky. It was creepy. There was some other sort of supernatural elements into it other than the actual haunting. Had a really cool twist at the end of it. Liked this one a lot. Definitely check this one out. A fairly decent, it's not like a really long read, but not too bad. I liked it. It was a really good book. I will be reading more of her work as well, because this is the first This is the first book from Isabella Canas that I've read. I really enjoyed this one. And then I have Daphne by Josh Malerman. I listened to the audiobook. It was narrated by Patricia Santomasso. Okay, so Josh also wrote Incidents Around the House. Fantastic haunted house book, told from this perspective of this little girl. And I think that one is being optioned as a movie. This, Daphne, is the one that needs to be optioned as a movie. It is about a vengeful ghost taking revenge out on the local basketball team for something that happened many years ago. There's a whole mystery trying to find out what actually happened. This book was unsettling. It was creepy. It had my skin crawling. It was gory. A lot of body horror involved. I love the shit out of this book. This is a 6-star read. This is the one that needs to be a movie. And that is Daphne by Josh Malerman. Again, the audiobook was fantastic, narrated by Patricia Santomasso. And then I read The Offspring by Jack Ketchum. This is the sequel to Off Season. This time we follow the children of the cannibals living out in Maryland. If you read Off Season, expect more of that. But I will say I enjoyed the ending for this one a lot more. I expected a similar ending to that we got from off season, but this one I liked the ending for this a little bit more. There is a third book, and actually it started out as a movie called The Woman, directed by Lucky McKee, but Lucky McKee and Jack Ketchum did a novel version, so I'll be reading that as well. All right, and then we got 3 more books. I Know a Place by Nat Cassidy. I listened to the audiobook. This was narrated by Shaun Taylor-Corbett and Kelly Ray O'Donnell. This is his collection of short horror. It starts off with Rest Stop. I've seen a lot of people talk about Rest Stop on TikTok and on Instagram. I never got around to reading it. Man, that was a great story. I can't really give anything away, but I will say that I Know a Place, like every story, I loved. I loved every story in that book. They were terrifying. They were suspenseful. Definitely check that out. And if you can, listen to the audiobook. I picked the audiobook up on Libro, which is where I'm getting most of my audiobooks now. And then I have one more that was given to me by Sourcebooks Audio. The Last Time We Drowned by Saratoga Schaefer. And if you know Saratoga Schaefer, she wrote Tradwife, which is a demonic horror. I haven't read that, unfortunately, because after listening to this book, I wish I had. But The Last Time We Drowned was narrated by Stephanie Nemeth-Parker, who does a fantastic job at bringing all these characters' lives. Bringing all these characters to life. I loved her work on this book, and the book itself, it's a thriller with a little bit of paranormal aspect to it. But this is the story of an influencer who gets hired to basically collaborate with other influencers on this yacht. And she finds out that one of the girls quit, and other people start ending up dead. And so there's kind of like this mystery, but it's a little bit of like paranormal stuff happening as well. I really enjoyed this. I don't listen to a lot of thrillers because thrillers to me just aren't enough. Like I need the extreme. I need the extra, you know what I mean? But this was really good, really well written. The twist was great. I didn't see it coming. Man, she can write. And now I got to go back and listen to Tradwife. Because just based on this book alone, if Tradwife is as good as this is, I'm in for a treat then. But yeah, The Last Time We Drowned, fantastic book. The audiobook was great. It's not a long book. But yeah, definitely check that out. I loved it. I think it just came out last month. Thank you, Sourcebooks Audio and Libro FM for that. And then finally, we have Widow's Point by Richard Chismar and Billy Chismar. This was narrated by Tristan Morris and Mia Barron. I saw Spooky Curious on Instagram talk about this book and say how great it was. And so I went ahead and listened to it. Let me tell you, this book was right up my alley because I love found footage. That's my favorite subgenre of horror. And this book is written in a found footage way. And it covers two things that happened in this lighthouse. First, we have this guy who he wanted to investigate it. So he took his camera and his audio recorder. Well, his camera ends up breaking, but we have all the audio. And so the first part of this book is his audio tapes and what happened. Then we have a group of paranormal investigators who want to investigate what happened there. And so now we have camera footage, we have handy cam footage, stationary cameras that were placed around the lighthouse, and also audio recordings. The only thing that kind of bugged me a little bit about this book was every now and then we would get a character's emotions. And, you know, when you're watching, it would say, you know, so-and-so felt this way or felt that way. Well, we don't know how they felt. all we know is what we see on the screen or what the words are telling us that is on the screen. So that kind of pulled me out a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. But yeah, highly recommend that one. It was a great read. The audiobook was fantastic. And again, that was Widow's Point. I have the ebook. But yeah, I love this book because, like I said, I love found footage. If you liked Widow's Point, I think you'll also enjoy episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. Fantastic found footage book. That's probably one of my favorite versions of a found footage book. Yeah, so there is my reading wrap up for June. I don't know how long this is actually my first reading wrap up, so I don't know if I did it right. If you liked it, let me know in the comments. What did you think about these books? If you've read them, even if you didn't like them, let me know why. Let's have a conversation, and hopefully you subscribe, and I would appreciate it. And you can check out some other reviews on my channel right here.